Welcome back to another edition of ACF411, the official podcast of the Allen County Fair, powered by Nutrien. I'm your host, Russ Decker, and joining me in the podcast parlor here at the Allen County Fair, Brian Fisher. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Russ.
So I know Brian, so, transparency, I work with Brian at Nutrien, so good to have you here. But the reason you're here is because Troy Elwer, who's the fair manager, every year we try to get a couple of vendors on, and he said, well, one of the most popular food spots on the entire Midway is Buckland Acres, and that's yours. So talk to us about your food stand here.
Yeah, so our concept is kind of a farm-to-table concept. We raise our own beef, and it's fresh ground 3 times a week by Kay's Meat in Walk. And to be truthfully honest with you, he's a crucial part of the whole equation. Without Kay's Meat, we couldn't function the way we do. I want to recognize him for what he does, his part in this whole thing. Also, Walters and Sons Meat in Walk is our other source for some of the meat we don't grow ourselves, but we do grow our own beef, and we either grow our own pork or we get locally sourced pork. But once again, it's all fresh ground 3 times a week, never frozen, hand patted on the grill, right here on the site. So it kind of brings a different freshness to the food truck business, let's say. But we've been here for 22 years. When we first had our first food trailer here, now we have 2 units running now, and it's really grown. I mean, ever since COVID, the food truck industry has really exploded, and it's worked out really well for us. We brought our second unit on this year, and we're as busy as we want to be right now. So,
well, I tell you, you're right across from the podcast parlor, so I get to see you all day, but there's always a line. Yeah.
Today we had a few breaks today, and to be honest with you, they were welcome breaks because it's been really busy. It's been a great year this year. I can't say enough for the fair this year. I think the attendance is up, and I think all the vendors are seeing an increased sales, and so Troy's done an excellent job since he's been on board, and I appreciate him for that.
Yeah, yes, we always talk a lot about Troy. He's doing an excellent job. But the comment I hear a lot, because as we interview kids throughout the week, Brian, one of the questions we ask them is, what's your favorite fair food? And you're number 1, 2, or 3 every day in their answers. But what they like is the sausage. So what's the secret to your sausage?
So once again, I'm going to go back to Kay's Meat on this. The recipe actually belongs to Kay's Meat, and it can be purchased there. I think what makes it different though here is the fact that it is never frozen and it's hand patted right here on site. Whereas if you go to Kay's and you can purchase the same sausage, but once again, it's not cooked on the same flat top griddle we have in the same fashion, and if you freeze the product, it takes away from it. So the recipe itself belongs to Kay's, but it's the extra effort we put in and not pre-patting it, freezing it. And you bring that freshness right here to the fair, and I think that's the biggest secret right there. And
I love your sausage. I'm a big fried bologna guy, and your fried bologna is second to none.
So that's Walters and Sons recipe on the bologna. But once again, we order that for the week, just for the week it's intended for, never frozen, brought right to the grill.
Yeah, it's really good, and a nice thick piece of bologna, and it's you can tell the difference. I mean, there are some not good bolognas out there, but this is not one of them. So.
And Tina Walters again, she's a part of this too. And without these local butchers, we can't do what we do.
So let me change the channels on you. I want to talk to you as a dad whose kids have been in this. They've been showing animals as they grew up, just south of us at the Auglaize Fair primarily. But what's that been like in your family with just kids growing up and they've been around livestock probably their entire life?
Oh yeah. So I grew up on a hog cattle farm. My kids, once again, we primarily raise cattle, but we do raise some hogs. We grow corn and some soybeans. We mostly grow alfalfa hay for a racehorse farm out here on Cool Road. Cool Winds Farm is the main reason is our main cash crop. But all 4 of my kids have grown up around agriculture and the food trailer. And I think for them, I think that's a big reason that they're where they're at today. I mean, my 21-year-old son is welding out at Synovus. Clayton, my second son did an internship at Nutrien, first high school student to do an internship as a chemical engineer at Nutrien. He went on to Ohio State. He's keeping his 4.0 grade average. Doris, my older daughter, she's looking to be something like in the physical therapy field. And then Vivian, my youngest daughter, she's in advanced learning in all her classes, and a lot of that is contributed to in the food trailer. These kids have been doing math since they've been old enough to work the drawer, and I think through farming and the food trailer, just being around everyday activities, they have an edge.
One of the things we like to talk about all week in these podcasts is just how important and how hard these kids work that are in junior fair. Whether it's FFA, it's 4-H, but if they have a project, that's work.
Yeah, all these kids work hard, and that's another thing for us too that kind of, I guess, separates us a little bit from some of the vendors on down the midways. We're heavily relying on the 4-H kids, and we appreciate the following we get. Even from one fair to another, there's a lot of kids that open show at other fairs that still, see us at Shelby or at Mercer, and they follow us, and we're heavily relying on 4-H, and we greatly appreciate all the 4-H kids. So
you'll like this. I know it'll make you smile. Probably the number one comment I've heard from the kids this year was, your trailer wasn't red.
So we were a little concerned about that coming into this. There was a lot of debate on which trailer we bring, because we do still have the red trailer. Yeah. And my intention was to have this trailer wrapped before we got here. And we had too many double bookings. I couldn't get it scheduled in. So we wanted to go with capacity, and we rolled the dice that after 22 years, people would recognize the name and not the color. And we were right, but amazingly enough, there's been a ton of people that have said they walked by the first day because they didn't realize it was us.
Well, and I think that's a compliment to you and your whole family, because it's the same location.
Yes.
And they were like, yes. Oh, well, you want to go over here to this red, to the red place, right. and that's where you want to eat. And then they go, oh, well, he got a new trailer.
Yeah.
Everybody sees it but it's just funny how many of them are just force of habit. It's like, it's supposed to be there. So
that's been a topic of conversation. It's. But yeah, so both trailers will be, I'm going to wrap both trailers to match, just for the record. Next year, it'll be a red theme, but they both will match, and we'll clear that up.
Great. Brian Fisher, thanks for taking time out of a really busy week to join us here in the podcast parlor.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me here, Russ. Thank you very much.
All right, and we want to thank Alex Wolf, our engineer from iHeart, and Ann Decker, our videographer, for helping us with the YouTube stuff this year. And we'll be back with another episode of ACF 411 right after this.